starts to self-destruct. I mean, that's, that could be funny, to say that the internet knows. Well, actually, of course, the people that wrote that are the people that work for tire companies that want you to buy new tires every 6 years, whether you need them or not. That's probably, as long as you need to. I'm personally aware that 20 years is too long for a tire. As my 33-year-old van started wobbling while it was driving, and I was like, what's wrong with this? Something's wrong. So first I had the driving checked, and the person that did the routine for the van said the tires were fine. And it's getting old, 33 years, and so it's getting loose, maybe. Well, but it got worse, so I took it to the tire place, and as soon as I was driving it into the tire place, the guy went, "Oh, the tires are falling apart." You could see from the way the tire was moving that it was falling apart from inside. Turns out they're 20-year-old tires. And guess what? They're at the point where their stuff that holds them together inside is falling apart, and as a result, the tire has all this wobble. I'm proud to say I'm the now proud owner of 4 new Blizzards on my van, and it came driving out of there smooth. It's just so nice having it drive the way it used to be. Pardon?
What kind of van is it?
Oh, it's a Ford Econoline. They asked me, is it a 150, 250, or 350? I don't know. Only had it 33 years. How was I supposed to know what kind of van it was? It's a nice one. It's a nice van. It's my St. Bernard's favorite. She doesn't fit very well in my Audi, which, by the way, I'm very sad about the Dean's Audi Black Beauty that got hit by that accident the other day. Sorry about that. And then my wife's Pilot. My St. Bernard will fit in the Pilot, but it's not really a good fit. So St. Bernards need more space. Well, when we get into the van and we put her in there, she's happy because she can sit up on the seat and look around, and she can, it doesn't hit her head into the roof, and she can lie down on the back seat. It sleeps 9, so she really likes that van. But yes, if you're telling people things, unless you're a politician or a salesperson, who else would lie to you? Your husband? No, husbands would never lie. Where were you tonight? I was studying at the library. Yes, clearly truth. Should I be less funny? Maybe that.
I don't understand it yet.
Okay.
But I don't know what questions to ask to better understand it.
Well, let's try looking at the square a little bit at the relationships between the different statements. Clearly, this is going to fit perfectly into Aristotle's concept of what knowledge is. Because knowledge consists of our understanding categories and the relationship that categories have to all the other categories. You actually take kind of what we would call today an encyclopedia of all of these interrelationships, and you know everything, basically, right? And so that's the goal, right? And by the way, his success in doing that is what kept people, as they rediscovered Aristotle. For a while it was lost. Aristotle was the teacher of Alexander the Great, right? His father was the physician to Alexander's grandfather, I think, and so when Alexander was in need of a teacher, they asked actually Aristotle to come back to Macedonia and teach Alexander, which he did. They spent about 2 years together, before Alexander's father. Alex Andros means savior of man, by the way. And his father was Philip, which means lover of horses. Phil means friend, love. Hippo is horse. Remember, hippopotamus is a water horse. And I had to ask ChatGPT, why on earth do we use the Greek word for that animal in English? And that's kind of silly stuff. But the native word where hippos live is Mr. Cream.
No,
Yes. I'm not, well,
that's not.
unless ChatGPT was lying to me. Death, gender in Japanese. That's fascinating because, in European languages, death is like masculine, or in French, it's feminine. And sure enough, people react as if death is a feminine kind of thing, or it's a masculine kind of thing. In Japan, it's just an abstraction. They don't have masculine and feminine in Japanese. But I better not describe everything I've
What about a yin yang? Would that not be like yin?
That's Chinese, and I'm not sure how that fits in. I'll have to ask. Greek color terms, understanding axioms, branches, Harry Potter's wizard status, getting a COVID boot. You can see I'm just kind of asking everything. What was I asking? I forget now what I'm looking for. Hippo. We could always just ask again. Let's just say, what is the meaning of hippopotamus in the native language where hippos live? Okay, well, I'm not finding what I'm looking for, but one of them said in English, the translation of the word, the native word for it would be Mr. Cream. That startled me, because, that's not... How many of you are playing with ChatGPT and other AI programs? Oh no, that's terrible. These are free. Are you not playing with them because they're scary?
That's why I'm not playing.
You're scared of the connection to, because you do have to register to have a free account.
Yeah,
And then it remembers all the stupid things you ask.
yeah.
And so when the CIA wants to find out, is this person whatever, they can just ask ChatGPT, I guess. I don't know how that works. So I highly recommend playing with new tools as they come out. Google things. Find out what Google still thinks. All that stuff is improving. And one of these days, a job might require you to have processed lots of different things. Who knows? But there are new tools that are out there. But back to this, there are relationships between the statements. So if someone says to you, hippopotamuses are smelly, all hippopotamuses are smelly. Not to a hippopotamus. I mean, if you're a male or female hippopotamus and you smell the other hippo, I'm sure that's fine, right? But if you visit hippopotamuses in a zoo, it's usually the smelliest of the enclosures that you'll find. How many of you have seen a hippopotamus in real life? A couple, okay. I've seen them all over the world, never here. Never here. I mean, I remember the elephants we used to have. I've been a member of the zoo here. We used to have the elephant house is still there, but the only elephant that's still left is under the ground, where we had the little memorial to her. And of course, the other one that used to live there with her is in a paradise for elephants now. And if you're curious, like my wife is, she goes and watches that elephant with the cameras that are always on, so she can make sure she's still happy. And she is. She's much happier there than living here in the winter in a concrete enclosure, right? That was really small. So hippopotamuses are smelly. Well, that's an A statement, right? And if I look at this statement, some hippopotamus is not smelly. Well, how about that? Use Van Roll-On or something, and as a result, that smells nice. I mean, that would still be smelly, I suppose, but there's no smell at all from this particular hippopotamus. If that were true, if I found that example, this would now be false. Because you couldn't have this true if this is true. I mean, they're contradictories, right? So an example of this being true would mean that that's false. Because contradictions, the other way is here, so no hippopotamus is smelly. And I found some hippopotamus is smelly. That would contradict this, and I would know that this is false, right? Contradictions. That's what a contradiction is, right? We can also say, if I say all hippopotamuses are smelly and no hippopotamus is smelly, one of those has to be false. It could be that both of them are false. It turns out that not all hippopotamuses are smelly, right? And in that case, what you can see is that the contraries, these are called the contraries, the universals are referred to as contraries. If one is true, the other one has to be false, but both can be false with contraries, right? Well, if I look down here, some hippopotamus is smelly. That actually suggests that there is some hippopotamus that's not smelly. I mean, normally, when you have an I statement, some politician is honest. Vote for Mary, On the other hand, some politician is not honest. I won't mention one, but there are some, right? It seems like both of these can be true. In fact, it seems like normally they are both true, right? When you have that. So, notice sub-contraries, both cannot be false. One has to be true. Both of them might be true. Right? Now we get into some interesting peculiarities associated with different languages. Because for Aristotle, if you said all hippopotamuses are smelly, that would also mean that some hippopotamus is smelly. It would have to be, right? For Aristotle, that's not a problem. In modern European languages, we get into a problem with that, and the concern is what is referred to as existential import. Existential import. If I say, for example, all unicorns have a single horn, true or false? True. Everybody's complete agreement. All unicorns have a single horn. Unicorn means actually, but that should imply that there's some unicorn that has a single horn. In English, it seems like I'm saying that there's a unicorn someplace, and it has a single horn, right? But unless we're being fudgy with what we mean by unicorn, and instead of, the white horse with the single horn and the silvery blood, that Hagrid found, see that? It's unicorn blood, that is, right? And so on. If I'm talking about a particular animal that actually has only one horn, but that's not exactly the same category. I'm talking a different category there. Well, if that's